Hi and welcome to the pre-match build-up show with myself, Cecil Jee, and I've got James B with me. As you know, we've got Arsenal versus Man City today. Big game. If you guys know, James is feeling a little bit confident, saying we might get a draw.
Stop, I never said confident. I just said more positive than everyone else who's so miserable going into this game. But I get it.
We're getting run through. But listen, before we kick off, this show is sponsored by...
I quite like that.
I like this episode. Sponsored by AFTV Picks. It's the Wonder Division. Again, it's in my head.
It is.
Since I've started, because of you, I love it. It's in my head. Anyway, this show is sponsored by AFTV Picks. Today you can win Xbox Series X and a share of £1,000. Make sure you go check it out. You have until kick-off to answer the questions, take on Robbie. I've done it, I've entered my friends because I'm trying to get this Xbox more than anyone. But it's all free, anyone's available to get it. Make sure you get involved. Actually, you have to be over 18. That is the only rule there. Have to keep that in.
Anyone can get involved.
Yeah. And lastly, super chats today. Please bring them in. All of it's going to prostate cancer. There's a charity that we're sponsoring today for all the super chats. All the money's going towards them, from this show through to the watch along, through to Starting 11 through to watch along, and then aftermath show. All goes to prostate cancer. So make sure you guys do that if you want to do super chats. Just to do that, we'd really appreciate it. And yeah, big up. Cool.
Absolutely.
Right. We have a fun show today. I feel. I looked at the run.
Looking at how our opposition today are just so good in every way that we should have no hope. Fun.
I mean, there's fun elements.
Okay.
There's fun elements.
No, yeah, we are. No, we are. We'll have a laugh. We'll touch on City, but I think there's a way we can win. I think there's things we can do. We can build some 11s.
You've got to convince. Well. Yeah, you've got to convince us and the audience. How can we beat City today?
We'll talk about that later. Let's talk about Benfica first, because. That was the last game. We like to do this, especially without the show with Graham, which we want to do. Is this a good opportunity to kind of look back at that last game? In hindsight, you still as disappointed about the 1-1 as you were at the time? Well, you were, to be fair, you were okay, but others were quite disappointed.
Yeah, I'm disappointed, but I'm not like, I was just like, Aubameyang should have took his chances. There's not really much else more that can really say on it.
That's the big thing. They were really, really good chances. I've just seen Jesse Lingard put one away for West Ham, with his left foot in a similar position. I'm thinking, Aubameyang, man, like you had that chance, and I'm not saying score, but try. Even Jesse Lingard had one in the first half he didn't take. I'm not trying to say, Pierre, please be like Jesse Lingard.
Let's not run with that.
An example of what we've just seen in the last half hour, and Aubameyang is a much better player, a much better finisher, and can do that. So disappointing, but I thought we did ultimately. I think we did okay. We created the chances. We should have won. We should have done better. I think I saw that the 7 shots we had was the lowest we tallied since the Man City quarter-final. So funnily enough, City again. But what I think shocked us was me and you sat here waxing lyrical about how Benfica, they come at you, they play, they attack, they suffocate you, they throw men forwards, and they didn't do that.
No, that threw me off. And Everton didn't start, also threw me off. That was my danger man in the last show. He didn't start.
Oh, Everton Suarez, of course, left winger. Yeah, they didn't use him. So that was really. That was kind of strange because they sacrificed possession to us. They had moments where they're on the ball, but ultimately they kind of sacrificed possession to us. Yeah. And instead of having, if I just really quickly draw it out here, just something a bit more expansive like that, they were ultimately playing this back three. And I think that made it a very different task for us.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it was about overcoming what we hadn't been able to overcome earlier in the season, which is deep blocks, a lack of space, even though the space was in behind at times. And don't get me wrong,
it definitely was.
They played a high line, but we didn't exploit that enough. But I'm talking about when we got in and around their penalty area.
We didn't exploit it enough properly, as in we weren't precise with it in the sense of there was 10 offsides, guys, throughout the game. That's poor. You shouldn't be getting that many offsides. They were playing a high line. We just were caught offside by it, which for me it's unprofessional. It's not good enough. You should be able to realise they're playing a high line. If you get caught offside 2 or 3 times, 2 times, you realise, okay, I can probably get in behind their back line. Let me just start my run a bit later. But we didn't expose it. And
no, we didn't.
But one thing I also want to quickly say as well is I never felt like we were going to lose the game, though. Do you know that?
No, I know what you mean. I felt like, to a degree, without playing brilliantly, I felt we were in control. But because they played, quite basically a back 5 and a 3 in midfield, I think what it essentially meant was, even though it looked like if we were just a little bit sharper, we'd have carved them open. And you could see that our passes weren't quite right. We were getting the basics wrong. Bad first touch, things like that. I did feel like, maybe actually if we were out there on the pitch playing it, maybe Benfica did make it harder for us than we think. The chances were there, but also we only had 7 shots on goal. To a degree, they did stop us from getting the attempts off. We had more against Man United, we had more against Chelsea, we had more against Villa. Better teams who caused us more problems in those games. We also had more chances. So I think that made it difficult for someone like Aubameyang, who very much likes to play on the shoulder. And he was trying to make these runs. And at times, as we said, it worked out. Odegaard was finding him a lot. I thought Odegaard had a great game. He was our man of the match.
Yep.
And he was able to pick passes that we have lacked in this team kind of all season. But ultimately, Benfica's change in system, the fact they didn't chase us the way we thought they were going to, meant that actually we had to be a bit more clever than we did instinctive, let's say.
Yeah.
And then our goal comes from, where is it? Saka goal versus Benfica. Comes from Martin Odegaard doing something quite special. Now, when we talk about having technicians in midfield who can make things happen, there's 2 really good examples of it here. Now, Odegaard for the whole game was playing these kind of through balls, these threading it through the lines. And yeah, I know, it looks crazy. Okay. This ball I'm going to show you, it's out of screen, but this ball over the top to Bukayo Saka comes from Dani Ceballos. He pings this wonderful ball over the top, and Saka's one-on-one with Vertonghen. It's brilliant. Now, I'm just going to pause it here and say I've not drawn this as accurate as I do other goals because it's not really as important. It's the Odegaard through ball that's important, and that's Ceballos' pass. So Ceballos getting us from our half to the edge of their penalty area the way he did, I think goes very under the radar.
Okay.
No one is realising quite... I saw people saying Ceballos didn't have a good game. Forget what else he did other than that. The goal comes from him getting us up the pitch like that. Yeah. That's a major contribution to the match. Saka's one-on-one, all right, tries to cut it back or whatever, doesn't quite come to Smith Rowe. It bounces back to Odegaard. Well, Aubameyang didn't look great there. But
I was going to say, there's like a ghost post.
Yeah.
But okay, go for Aubameyang.
Not our best one. In fact, if I just go back to here. Aubameyang passed it back, and it's that ball from Odegaard to Cedric, and he's able to square it. And it's that Odegaard pass where he's able to, on the edge of the area, just in an instant, thread it to Cedric. And you need to see the footage, and you've all seen the goals. Look them up on YouTube. That ball from Odegaard, just a touch and pass, is so good. The more I watch it, the more I'm like, wow. Yeah. Because it was so quick, it was so instinctive, it was so precise. Cedric doesn't have to break stride. Saka doesn't have to break stride. The way he's played that ball through has allowed for the rest to happen quite seamlessly. Yeah. And he was doing that all day. And I think he could be quite key, not just for this City game, but for the rest of the season, because he's got that ability to pick past that. We've all been lauding Smith Rowe, but Smith Rowe doesn't quite have that. I think he's got it at times.
Yeah. But I think
everyone has it. He's more of a runner, actually.
I think everyone has it at times, but the consistency level, what we've seen at Odegaard, he's doing it more consistently on a consistent basis. Because you could say Xhaka as well. I've seen Xhaka play balls, I'm like, the flip? He's got that in his locker, but then it's not consistent enough. Odegaard seems like he's like, it's graceful the way he plays. Like Ozil.
It is graceful, you're absolutely right. And luckily he was up the pitch to make these things happen. Now, I had one other gripe from that game, which is that we've spoken about how they changed their system and formation. To a degree we did too, and we mentioned it in our stats review show, where basically Smith Rowe was really out wide, and we wanted to see him more central areas, and Xhaka was dropping into that almost back three. Now, forget the position of the rest. I mean, it's sort of a bit of an average position, but Xhaka was very much dropping in to make part of a back three at times. And the frustrating thing about that is, as we said in our show, what is the point buying Gabriel and Mari, 2 left-footed ball-playing centre-backs, and you keep telling Xhaka to get there? So we don't know what the lineup's going to be, but mainly because we don't know if he's going to rest players, if he's going to go for his strongest team, but maybe he thinks it's time to bring Pepe in or Lacazette or whatever. I don't know. But I just hope we don't see this again, because City will punish you if you start taking men out of midfield. And that's going to be crucial. We'll talk about City in a little bit.
Definitely. If you see Xhaka in that position today, guys, just know things are going downhill.
Yeah.
If they haven't already, they're going further downhill. If you see Xhaka dropping that position.
It's a good point. He does that when things aren't going our way.
Yeah.
When we're not really playing that well, he finds the need to come deeper to get the ball. And that's not a good sign. Definitely. So I completely agree with you.
Before we go on, I'm just going to take some chats or comments, shall we say. So before we analyse City, and you're going to convince us that we have some sort of hope in hell that we can get a result today. We're going to look at some of these. So Kodachi says, God can't save us, lol. Ruby Juby says, hope we lose by only 3 goals. I mean, that's mad. But,
wow. Reach for the stars, mate.
Dion D'Souza says, should Balogun get a chance to shock City? It's going to be unlikely, very much unlikely. Jamie Dodger 13 says, this streams make my day. I think, these streams make my day. Big up you. Ceballos, Minimum Bros says, Ceballos isn't bad, he's just bang average.
Okay, I so disagree, but...
Yeah, a lot of people are saying Ceballos is... okay, I'm going to say. There's some other things, but I'm going to say okay. Taj Brown says the pass is exquisite, and I think he's referring back to when you brought up talking about Odegaard pass. And Omar97 says this is a Martinelli type of game.
Yeah, a few people have been calling for Martinelli to start this game up front, and he came on up front over Lacazette, which is very interesting. I wonder whether the club are going through a period of realising that maybe they need to make a decision about where they stand on Martinelli. Sorry, not Martinelli, Lacazette, because obviously he goes into the last year of his contract after this. You know, is he, I like Lacazette a lot, he's been playing well, but is he really the striker to persist with when Aubameyang signed a new deal and Martinelli is the future as well? Both of them signed new deals in the summer. So it'd be very interesting.
Yeah, before we move on, obviously, people are also talking about Laka should start. We're going to go to build your 11s at the end. I'll be very intrigued to see everyone's 11s towards the end of this show, but people are saying Laka should start.
I think I'd start Lacazette.
And Brian Holiday just sent in a super chat. This is what I was about to say. People are screaming for Pepe. Pepe should get a start, if not at least a second half sub, right? He has to have some involvement today.
Yeah, you think so?
I haven't been his biggest fan, but I actually starting to feel bad.
I feel a bit bad for him.
Yeah.
I feel a bit bad for him because what more does he have to do, really? I mean, I say what more does he have to do? It's not like he's been brilliant all season, but the last 3-4 games he was playing very well. He looked our most dangerous player, and he gets dropped. And you know, you're rightly asking those questions, but
all right, well, let's look at
Man City.
The Premier League winners, in my opinion. That's who they're going to be this season. The Premier League winners. How do we? Oh. Okay.
So I wanted to have a little look at, this is Man City and pretty much the 11 they had for the 2017-18 season. I was chatting to Steve from Esteemed Company before we did AFTV Picks, which you can check out with Robbie, good fun. And I was asking, I said, a lot of the elements seem the same, but he seems to have tweaked things as well, Guardiola. It's not like he's stuck with the same thing and he's just struck gold again. You know, rather than it being just the team being in and out of form, it's a case of tactical tweaks and changes he's made. And he said, yeah, there is a bit of that, but also they actually are doing a lot of the same things, only the basis is still there for what they were doing before. And I thought that was interesting, so I wanted to kind of have a little look at what he meant. And he kept talking about organisation, structure. He was like, Guardiola's teams are renowned for obviously like attacking football and being brilliant to watch. But they are...
Are they drilled? Drilled in what they...
Drilled. Yeah. Like, drilled. They are not robots, because there is a degree of fluidity to where they play, but it's coached. It's organised. And this side, who lined up as a 4-3-3, with David Silva and De Bruyne almost as 2 10s in midfield, looked more like this when they were on the ball. Kyle Walker and Fabian Delph, maybe I can move this along slightly more, they played as sort of inverted wing backs a little bit wider, sometimes the overlap.
Yeah, and sometimes higher as well.
Yeah, but overall, inverted wing backs. David Silva and De Bruyne got really far forward, because what they did, well, one of them I'm going to mention in a sec, but ultimately they were the feeders, and Sane and Sterling, who were the wingers, were very, very wide. They stretched the pitch. They gave themselves as much running space as possible, as much space for a pass from the likes of De Bruyne in between the centre back and full back, and then they'd go.
They go, yeah.
And there was always that ball, and there was always the cutback. I was watching it before coming today. Go back and watch Man City's goals, 2017-18. Look how many of them are cutbacks. And it wasn't necessarily just that ball in beyond. Maybe it was De Bruyne's pulled out wide and he's playing it down the line to Sterling. But it was always the same thing. And if that wasn't on, I'm just going to bring this back.
I think they're going to go to feet. I don't know. I feel like I know how they play as well. Let me have a look.
Sorry, I've just got to get rid of this quickly.
No worries. I'm going to take some comments because there was one quickly. We had a super chat from, here we go, Code A Line says, look at least Spurs lost today. So let's get a win and go above them. P.S. Can you get Robbie to show us how to do a backflip? I'll teach him. But
interesting question.
Yeah.
So
it's unlikely, but go on.
The other thing I wanted to mention was the underlap, and we've spoken about this before on this show. This, let's do it white so you can see a bit better. The underlap. De Bruyne and David Silva were always making those runs and beyond. So if the ball came to Sterling, it was always a case of maybe just a nice through ball there. De Bruyne's made the run, another cutback. Yeah. They were relentless in that. And the other thing is that De Bruyne and Silva were much more like advanced playmakers, almost like wider 10s. So rather than one of them occupying this space in between Aguero, they were much... It was literally that space in between almost left centre back and left central midfielder, or whatever. Very, very difficult to mark. Now, if I look at the current Man City team, they don't do much different. They've not got as much pace out wide because Foden's been playing out there, Mahrez has been playing out there, so you don't have Sane, and who was just blisteringly fast. Yeah. I feel like you want to say something.
Yeah, I do. I feel like now the new City of today, they still have them options how they played before, but they have an added option of Sterling stretches the pitch wide, or Mahrez, and they give it to feet, and you always see it one-on-one. Beat your man. Go down, or you go down, or you cut it across. That cut across thing across the front of the goal. That is prominent in their game. But I'm just saying they have the ability to beat their men, which regularly.
Yeah, they do have that quality. Foden, Mahrez, Sterling, they can beat their men. Ferran Torres, if he comes in, absolutely. But the key thing, which again Steve mentioned, and I sort of went looking into it after. Again, the movement's very similar. But there we go. I've decided to play it twice. There's a couple of things that I think are quite interesting in the way this is different from how it was before. First thing is, this three here, if I can just get this going. Let's do it in yellow.
Go on.
Zinchenko, Rodri, Cancelo. They act as a shield for the counter attack. Yeah. With this front five, when they attack, and they've got the freedom to, they've got the legs to, they've got the movement and the creativity to, these three act very much as a shield. But Cancelo is also very much a part of the build-up, of the play, of the progression. Cancelo's made the third most passes for Manchester City this season.
Jeez,
more than their midfielders, more than anyone. In the 17-18 season, De Bruyne and Silva were both in the top 5 for most passes made that season for City. So they had a greater involvement in the way they dictated the play. And Kyle Walker, who was playing where Cancelo is now, still made a lot of passes, and actually in the season after made a lot of passes as well, was right up there. But in that season in particular, wasn't making as many as the central midfielders. So there's almost an expectation that these three are also deep playmakers. They're not just there to shield and cover, they create the attacks. And one of the things I think, and this isn't necessarily something I've spotted, it's just something I imagine is what's helping them a lot. What also helps is that they've got legs in, that's not what I was trying to draw, forgive me. They've got legs in Foden, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva and Sterling, but mainly Gundogan, who is playing in a role that he played very successfully at Borussia Dortmund, which was as this box-to-box midfielder. He's scoring a lot of goals at the moment. He looks very, very dangerous. I know we're going to go on to Danger Man in a bit. And one of the things, you've chosen Phil Foden, but it could easily have been Gundogan. It could have been any of them.
It could have been.
Could have been any of them.
Could have been the whole 11, bro.
But Gundogan's played much more as a box-to-box role, whereas before under Pep, where he was struggling more, where a lot of City fans didn't really know what he did, he was playing as a deep-line playmaker, almost in that Rodri position. And now he's getting up and down. And we know Bernardo Silva's got bags of energy, loads of work rate. And I think that's given them the dimension to almost play a more dynamic front. Because Silva and De Bruyne are brilliant, but they're not the most dynamic. De Bruyne can be, but David Silva wasn't necessarily. And I think with that, they've got a bit more legs in midfield, and the play-making, if you want to call it that, I know it's not really great football terminology, is mainly coming from Zinchenko and Cancelo at times. That's just looking at the stats, watching City when I have, that's kind of what I'm seeing a little bit. It's basically the same principles we saw before, but tweaked. You know, the same things we were seeing in the 17-18 season where they were brilliant, but slightly tweaked. It's going to be interesting to see whether they sort of do this, you know, whether they do this today, whether it's something they do regularly throughout the season, because it's been quite a recent thing that the inverted wing-backs has come back, mainly like the last month or two. And I think, if I just go back to this graphic here of Arsenal City, I think where that does mean Arsenal have a chance to exploit some space and maybe cause them trouble, looking at the goals that City have conceded this season, especially in the Premier League, it tends to be this area here. Oh, maybe if I get it here. It tends to be this area here. We mentioned it in our last preview show before we played them at the Etihad, that they tend to be more vulnerable. When their full-backs or wing-backs are in that inverted position or they're caught up the pitch, they haven't been dealing with crosses into the box too well. Maybe a reason to play Lacazette or Martinelli, who's good with his head. And you know what? It's so hard to analyse a team like City who do everything brilliantly.
Really well, yeah. Because I was going to say their strength in attack is those positions there.
Yeah.
And you're telling me it's their weakness in defending, which is, I mean...
Yeah, well that's kind of the irony of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, look, I've got to be honest, guys. I'm going to be really honest with everyone here. I'm scraping a little bit. They've conceded 15 goals all season. They're on a 17-match winning run. I'm looking for anything. And the only thing that has really stood up to me is that area of the pitch. Mo Salah wins a penalty against them, you know, because he's made that run and they're looking a little uncomfortable there. First game of the season, they score from a header where they exploited that position and put a ball into the box. Leicester City scored 5 goals, and a lot of them came from attacking those positions.
But who do you... You just said to me just then, Lacazette should start for that basis because he's going to be the guy in the box. So that's the end phase.
He's better with his head than Aubameyang.
Correct, but then Aubameyang exploits them spaces himself. Yeah, I know what you mean for the final phase. Lacazette is better when the ball comes into him to score that sort of chance. But Aubameyang exploits that space individually by himself. The FA Cup.
But you know who I think exploits that space better than Aubameyang is Saka and Pepe. I think they're better at making those runs, and that Saka run that we saw from the surpassed pass against Benfica is a really good example of it. And Pepe was doing that against Southampton, against Wolves, scoring from those kind of areas. So I would like to see Pepe and Saka start today. And you know what? We were going to go to the building 11s, and you know, towards the end of the show, and I wasn't really sure kind of what I wanted. I was going to sort of on the spot just see how I felt. I sort of talked myself into hoping it's a Pepe, Lacazette, and Saka front three.
Okay. Interesting. We'll find out you guys 11s towards the end. We're going to go into now. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh no, the music's fun.
Danger Man section. So that is background music. So we're going to go into Danger Men. Now, instead of doing Danger Man this week, I've done Danger Men. Now, in a sense of Danger Men for who I believe we have someone dangerous, and Man City obviously have someone dangerous. They have a whole 11, if I'm honest. I couldn't actually pick. I came to this conclusion of what I'm going to do today due to the fact that me, James and Robbie argued about the Saka and Foden debate. Who's better? Right now, okay? That was what the debate was. So I've done Danger Men. And before we move on, I'm just going to quickly...
So you're going to compare Saka
and Foden. And what we're trying to say is, do you know what? It's not even comparing, okay? For me, it's appreciation talk we're going to go through today. We're going to go through appreciation of them both, but right now I believe Foden is ahead in his progression. He's currently the better player, but I believe Saka will be overall the better player when it comes to it. These are the numbers. I love this graphic. So this is the Danger Men section today. We have Saka here on, I don't know what side you're watching, it might be flipped. But yeah, we have Saka here. And these are the various positions he's played. Left back, left mid, centre mid, left wing, right wing. 5, yeah? 5 different positions. Phil Foden. Left mid, left wing, centre mid, attacking mid, could say that's the same as centre mid, but I don't know. No, probably not actually. Centre mid and attacking mid, and then right mid, right? I've got some numbers here, just quickly. This is in total, guys, okay? Foden has played 10 matches at left mid. 2 of them he scored in. This is in total of his whole playing career. This isn't this season. He scored 2 from left mid, 3 assists. Left wing, he's played 8 games there, got 2 goals. This is crazy. Centre mid's played 6 times in centre mid, scored twice and assisted 1. Okay. Right mid, played 3, scored 3 goals at right mid.
Wow,
Mad.
Foden.
Yeah, Foden.
Centre where Saka's been thriving as well.
Yeah. And then attacking mid, he's played 1, scored 1 and assisted 1. Now that is thanks to Transfer Market as well for that. This is their numbers. So I'm just going to give them the credit because I know James says I have to credit people. I'm going to credit people. Saka. Now he's played.
I'm the boring admin man. No, Cecil, you can't play Sky Sports broadcast on this TV.
We can't get sued.
You can't.
We don't want to get sued. And then we're going to look at Saka quickly. Right wing, he's played 11 matches there, scored 5 goals and 4 assists. That on the right wing. He's played 7 matches left wing and 1 assist. And then centre mid, 4 matches with 1 goal there as well in his career. But the statistics that you're seeing in the middle down here, the centre of your screen, are the ones of today. Okay, this is this season. So there's 1 year between both. Saka is younger. This is a key stat for me, guys. Saka has had 21 starts in 21 appearances. Okay? Foden's only had 13 starts in 19 appearances. Okay? So...
Is this in the league?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Mad, isn't it? Interesting, right? Saka's got 1 less goal than Foden with 5, and then assists-wise, he has 1 less as well. So the numbers are close. Saka has 2, Foden has 3. And then key passes, both with 24 each. Shots on target, Saka has more than Foden, 17 over 14. They're close numbers, James. They really
Nothing
are.
in it.
There's not much in it. But from what we've seen, and due to Foden, I believe, having a longer time to kind of bed himself into the Premier League, right now in his progression, for me, he's the better player for now. And today, I really am looking forward to seeing these two. I'm sure Saka starts. These two go at it. So,
look, I think what I'd say is Foden currently right now is a better player, but Bukayo Saka, what he's doing at 19 and the responsibility and the task that's on his shoulders to be carrying this Arsenal team through the problems that they're going through, even last season when we were terrible, this is a team that's averaging 9th right now. It finished 8th last season, it's 10th at the moment.
Yeah.
And Bukayo Saka is performing at these levels, getting these numbers. Foden's doing it in a free-scoring Manchester City team. Like Robbie made that point, and I think he's absolutely spot on.
It's a good point. It's the strongest point, actually.
I do think the eye test just tells me that Foden's a little bit more ahead, but let's big up our youngster, man, because he's your guy. Like you love him. You talk about this guy. You talk about him all the time.
And it's an appreciation.
Yeah, this isn't us trying to make one feel worse about the other. No. They're both incredible. Like City and Arsenal have produced 2 of the best British youngsters in a long time. 100%. Jack Grealish is up there, but these guys are absolutely phenomenal. And you know, I think they'll both start today. I hope they both start today. But they're incredible. And look, if anything, the amount of praise Foden's getting, Saka's numbers tell you he's keeping up. And that is another credit to him. And likewise, the amount of credit Saka's getting, Foden should be like, look at my numbers. And that numbers is the big thing. They both have
good numbers,
stats behind it.
Yep.
And the stats isn't everything. But Jack Wilshere, when he was coming up, and I was like, look at the talent, look how good he is. He is phenomenal, one of the best youngsters I've ever seen.
Tell him.
But the numbers weren't there for those who, you know what, put more stock in that than just skill and performances and tenacity and character. But these two have all that.
They are, and they're both versatile. Look at the positions they've played. Yes, Saka's probably better defensively, but they can play across the midfield, from left mid, centre mid, right wing, left wing, attacking mid. They listen. I love them. Saka as well, mainly my guy. Listen, I expect to see a lot from you today. Henry, big up for commenting on the Danger Man section. I like this. Henry says, could the Danger Man be Edison though? Honestly, it could be anyone. Honestly, it could be absolutely anyone. Could be the whole City team. But this is what he says: his kicking could expose our defence, and we can easily get caught with Tierney and Bellerin pushing up.
So yes, I think there's a chance of that. What I'd say is,
love this.
Xhaka is very disciplined, so I think Xhaka will kind of stay in cover. The other thing is that I think we've got we've got the win on them in one area, and that is aerially. Watch us concede now to a set piece. Of the centre-backs we've got, Holding, Mari, Gabriel, Louise, whichever two of the four play, they're actually very good in the air. Like, they've all been having good seasons aerially. And I think if Ederson was to go long, I back our centre-backs to deal with it. I actually do. Touch wood. I bet this is going to come back to bite me now I've said that. It's a very good point about Ederson. But I think we'll have a plan for it. I hope we have a plan for it. Everything else, sometimes you can't have a plan for City. But a ball over the top like that, you can prepare for that. So I have a feeling we will be.
Thank you. That was really good. Sorry, I just read a comment from 40423 saying Foden hasn't had longer to adjust. Hasn't had longer to adjust up until last season. Everyone in England was complaining he isn't getting enough minutes. Cecil was talking crap as always. Of course he had more time.
So what's the argument? What's he saying?
He's saying that Foden hasn't had longer to adjust. Of course he has. Pep had belief in him from the beginning, and he played in his favourite position way before Saka played in. Well, Saka can play in multiple positions, but Foden's been bedded in. He was told once Silva leaves, Foden's going to be straight in his spot. It was documented. He was ready, and he's had longer playing, I'm sure, than Saka. Was your thoughts?
You see what's interesting here, right? He's taking, and I kind of get what I don't like what he said about you.
Go on.
I get what he's saying. He's basically saying, what was the name, sorry?
His name is Fordy.
I think what Fordy's saying is, because Foden wasn't getting many opportunities, therefore he wasn't getting the experience. But actually, I see it the other way around. Like you, I see it as, actually, he was bedded in at a nicer pace.
100%.
He's been making appearances since the 18-19 season.
Off the bench, granted, fair, but he was getting bedded in, and he was being told that we could see, everyone in the country could see he was a great talent, but he was being looked after in the sense of not just throwing him in, and which is, for young players, I know especially, is dangerous. Like, it stops their development. You get bedded in perfectly well. In times of, instead of Saka who's been thrown in times of need, and we look to save the whole of the Arsenal team, Foden's had longer time to get himself to Premier League pace.
And that's crucial. That's really crucial, because what we're basically saying is Foden was able to play when Guardiola knew it was right and he was ready for it. Whereas Saka, to a degree, wouldn't we love to rest Saka today? Wouldn't we love to have rested him on Thursday? We can't. We simply can't. But Foden could be. Yeah. Foden could be. Because, De Bruyne comes in, Bernardo Silva comes in, Ferran Torres comes in.
Exactly, that's it. If anything, this is why I love Saka more, because he's risen to the challenge in a failing Arsenal team when they were losing, and still had 10-10 performances. That's why I respect him so much. But we can't say that Foden hadn't had longer time to get to Premier League pace and really set himself into the Man City squad. That is a complete fact, in my opinion. But it's an opinions game. Anyway, we're gonna move on. That one got me. I don't normally respond to things like that, but I just thought I had to just
him, guys.
Pick that one out. Right, it's the build your 11 section. Get your 11s in right now. We're going to build your 11s. But before we do that, also I want to go back. Henry, thank you for your super chat about Ederson. That's gone to prostate cancer. Guys, if you missed the start of the show, we are donating all the super chats to prostate cancer today. So make sure you get them in, even if you're just doing it for that. Do something good today. Spread love, all of that. So, Danger Man. But before we do Danger Man,
we just did Danger Man.
Sorry.
Are you all right?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, he didn't get his outro music. That's why he's confused.
Dun, dun, dun. Fading out. Okay, cool. So we're now going to build 11s. But before we do that, what I was going to say is Ty's 11.
Right. Let's just. Okay. There's Robbie, by the way, talking on.
Robbie's here as well. People saying, "Where's Robbie?" He's here. Don't worry, he's in the building. But first, Ty's 11, guys. Here we go in all its glory. So if Ty was our manager today, this is the team that would walk out and play Man City. Right, so.
Why did you make me bring this up?
I had to. It was a great topic. In the morning show, if you guys missed it,
Is Ty here yet?
He could be back. He's gone shopping.
Ty's gone shopping. He's changed. He's a changed man.
If you could check if he's in, because I'd love to get a quote from him on this.
Oh, that's a great shout. Yeah, see if you can get Ty.
If he's around.
He hasn't got a mic, but we'll put him close to my. Right, so this is Ty's 11. This is genuinely serious. This is not a joke. This is what he thinks can take on Man City today and get us the win. Matt Ryan in goal. I mean, rotation I understand, but Don't think this is the game really to bring him in my opinion.
Not the one I'd rotate him for.
Yep, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
Chambers.
He's on the way up.
Oh,
He's on the way up. Ty's on his way.
Guys, we've just had. Yep.
Yeah, he's coming. Ty is on his way. So he built this on the AFTV VIP app. You guys can check it out. You can do that. It's getting very loud because the people are arriving. Robbie is holding the Xbox Series X behind the camera. Step in. This is a bit of a road show. We're going to do it. Look at it.
Here he is.
Here he is, the Don. Give it to me.
Do your AFTV picks, do it now, and you can win this. Yeah?
Yes.
Hurry up.
Go and do AFTV Picks. You have till kick-off. This is Ty's 11. Lee, come in.
Don't pick that team, whatever you do. No chance.
Everyone's taking over the show. I love it.
I love it.
Where is the man
Take
himself?
over.
Where's Ty? We need to explain this.
We're sacrificing building fans' 11s so that we can hear Ty's opinions on this 11. We have to get it from the man himself.
We have to, okay, but we're going to obviously go through it as well. He's got Chambers, Holding, Murray and Cedric at the back. He's got Lee believes the £1 million still not going to be spent, so he's not starting. Got El Neni and Xhaka in the midfield. That's a very stiff midfield in my opinion. And then we've got Odegaard, Lacazette and Martinelli. Quite
Lacazette in the 10.
Coming in.
Here he is, Ty.
Here he is, the
Big
man
round
of the
of applause,
moment.
everyone.
The man of the moment. Come into the show.
Sorry.
How are you?
Thank you,
Come in.
thank you.
You're live on camera.
You're live
Ty.
on camera.
right,
Don't
sorry.
swear. Don't swear. Don't say anything rude.
So is it like Big Brother? You're live on camera. You're live on Arsenal Fan TV. Please don't swear.
Please step in. Please step into here, and you can talk into this mic here, and just explain to us: is this the team?
Do you want to face the camera?
I've done this before. I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just very quickly, just a quick line on this 11. Why you went with it?
Why you went with this?
I'm sorry to laugh, man. This is a bit unexpected. Because of the fact that I thought we've got a very big game against Benfica, so I thought this is the best team we can place in with resting almost everybody and still trying to be quite defensively solid, hopefully, and also giving an attacking outlet, hopefully.
Okay, so you're thinking about the Europa League game, so that's just priority for
Absolutely,
you.
of course. That's the only reason. That's the only reason.
All right. Well, actually makes loads of sense.
Fair enough.
All
I
right.
didn't expect that.
Thanks,
Thank you, Ty. Take care.
Play.
We'll see
Thank
in a
you.
bit.
Big talk. Right, well, we're going to have to wrap up now.
We're going to have to, guys, I'm so sorry. We didn't get people headphones emojis. They're saying the legend has arrived. Love it. Do we have, what are we on?
We're done. But guys, do check out AFTV VIP. It's where you can do your picks, where you get all sorts of exclusive content for £3 a month. Exclusive shows that you don't get on YouTube, and all the YouTube content we have ad-free as well. So do go check it out. This is where you can build your 11s right here, although this is a free element to the app, so you don't even need to sign up. You can go do this. Let us know who you would start. Tag us in it.
Yeah,
Instagram,
tag us in it on social media.
Yeah.
We tag AFTV Media on your 11. Make sure you use the app. You'll get reshared on the page. Guys, get involved. AFTV VIP is where it's at. And like I said, go and do your picks. Try and take the Xbox Series X off Robbie. I've got all my friends involved because we're trying to get it off him because I need it. But anyway, have a great rest of the day. Hopefully Arsenal can get the win. James believes they can. I don't. Keep stitching them up.
Words into my mouth. Right.
Make sure you tune in to the Start 11 up next. And please don't forget, all super chats are going to prostate cancer today. So please get them in. And yeah, enjoy the rest of today's content at AFTV. We love you and we'll see you soon.